The AITA for calling off my wedding after my fiancé's surprise gift? I, 30F, have been in a relationship with Mark, 32M, for 3 years, and we've been engaged for about a year. From the beginning, our relationship was a whirlwind of adventure. Mark is the kind of guy who thrives on surprises and grand gestures. He's always thinking outside the box, constantly coming up with creative ideas to spice things up. For example, for our anniversary last year, he rented a hot air balloon and we watched the sunset from the sky. It was incredible, and I loved it. I mean, he's always been unconventional, but in a good way. For the most part, I've adored that about him. It made me feel like I was constantly surprised, like our love was this exciting adventure. But there's also been a part of me that's sometimes a little overwhelmed by the unpredictability of it all. There's a fine line between spontaneity and a lack of consideration, and I found myself on the other side of that line more than once. Still, I never imagined it would lead to a point where I would question everything. A couple of weeks ago, Mark and I were having a small get-together with some close friends to celebrate our upcoming wedding. It was supposed to be a low-key evening filled with laughter, good food, and a bit of bubbly. As the night unfolded, Mark started dropping hints about a special surprise he had planned for me. I thought it was cute at first. I mean, we were celebrating our wedding, so why not? I imagined something sweet, maybe a heartfelt speech or a small gift, something meaningful. I never, in a million years, expected this. As the night went on, Mark finally gathered everyone around. He had been teasing the surprise all evening, and the excitement in the room was palpable. I had a smile on my face, assuming it was some kind of romantic gesture, maybe a gift for the wedding day, or something personal that showed how much he loved me. He handed me a small box, something that looked like it came from a fancy jewelry store, and I couldn't help but feel my heart skip a beat. Maybe it was a bracelet for our wedding, or even a necklace, a piece of jewelry that had some personal meaning. I thought about how sweet that would be and felt giddy. Mark opened the box for me, and when I looked inside, my stomach dropped. It wasn't jewelry. It wasn't even something personal or meaningful in the way I had imagined. It was a key, a literal key to a house. I just stared at it for a few seconds, unable to process what I was looking at. My mind raced as I tried to figure out what this meant. Was this some sort of joke? Was there more to the surprise? But no. Mark was looking at me with wide eyes, clearly proud of himself, as he started explaining what this gift was. He told me he had bought us a house. A house. Not just any house, but a fixer-upper. I immediately felt my pulse quicken and my stomach churned. This wasn't just a small gesture. This was a huge, life-altering decision, and I had absolutely no idea it was coming. I felt blindsided, shocked, and honestly a little betrayed. I had no idea how to react. I didn't even know what to say. I stood there holding the key, trying to process everything. Mark was talking, rambling on about how he'd found the perfect place for us to start our life together. He said it was our future, and that we could fix it up together. He went on and on about how we'd be able to turn this old house into our dream home. But I couldn't hear him. I couldn't focus on his words because all I could think was, why didn't he talk to me about this? I felt my face flush with confusion and anger. How could he have made such a monumental decision without consulting me? We'd been together for 3 years and engaged for a year, and I thought we were a team. We talked about our future, but never once had we discussed buying a house, let alone one that needed so much work. I thought we were on the same page about our next steps, but clearly we weren't. Mark kept looking at me, waiting for my reaction. Our friends were starting to cheer and congratulate us, and it felt so surreal. I felt completely detached from the moment, like I was watching everything from the outside. I looked around at our friends, expecting them to see the confusion on my face, to somehow sense my discomfort, but no one seemed to notice. They were all too excited about this grand gesture. I managed to smile weakly and say something along the lines of, "Oh wow, that's a big surprise," but I could barely even hear my own voice over the pounding in my head. I had so many questions. Why didn't he consult me? Why didn't he even tell me he was looking for houses? Was this supposed to be romantic? As the night went on, I knew I couldn't just let this go. I needed to talk to him to understand why he thought this was okay. We slipped away from the party, and I tried to keep my emotions in check, but it was impossible. As soon as we were outside, I let him have it. I told him I was hurt. I told him I felt betrayed. I explained that it wasn't the house itself that upset me. It was the fact that he made such a huge decision on his own. That's a decision that should be made together. We were about to get married, and he hadn't even considered how I would feel about this. I told him that it felt like a violation of trust, that it felt like he didn't see me as an equal partner in this relationship. Mark, of course, got defensive. He started saying that this was a great opportunity for us, that we should be excited, that I was missing the bigger picture. He told me that this was his way of showing me how committed he was to our future. He kept insisting that I should be happy that he was thinking ahead, but all I could feel was confusion and frustration. I tried to explain to him that it wasn't about the house itself. It was about the lack of communication. How could he not see that? We argued back and forth for what felt like hours. The more I tried to explain myself, the more defensive he became. He started blaming me for not being excited, for focusing on the negatives. He even went so far as to say that I was being ungrateful. At that point, I was just too overwhelmed to argue anymore. I didn't know what else to say to make him understand how hurt I was. It wasn't about the house. It was about the fact that we weren't making these decisions together. By the end of the conversation, I knew what I had to do. I knew deep down that I couldn't go through with the wedding. Not like this. I couldn't marry someone who didn't respect me enough to include me in such a monumental decision. I couldn't marry someone who thought it was okay to disregard my feelings and make such a big, unilateral choice for us. The next morning, I made the hardest decision of my life. I called off the wedding. I told Mark that I couldn't marry him. He was devastated, as I knew he would be. He begged me to reconsider, saying that he was willing to sell the house if it meant we could move forward with our wedding. But the truth was, it wasn't about the house anymore. It was about the trust and respect that had been shattered. I couldn't go forward with a marriage where I didn't feel like an equal partner. Since that night, Mark has been reaching out, asking for us to talk. He keeps telling me that he wishes we could have worked through it and that he's sorry for not including me in the decision. But I can't shake the feeling that he doesn't fully understand what went wrong. He still insists that it was a gesture of love and that I should have trusted him to make the right decision for both of us. Our friends have been divided, with some saying I overreacted and others saying that I was completely justified. Some have even stopped talking to me because they think I ruined everything over a house. I've never felt so torn in my life. I miss him, and I miss the dream of what we were building together. But at the same time, I know deep down that calling off the wedding was the right choice. So, Reddit, AITA for calling it off after a surprise gift? Or did I throw away something that could have been salvaged?